Hi loves, welcome back to Love What Luck. Hope you've all had an amazing week. I went out this week for my birthday celebrations. Now I went to Santorini last week. Well, this week I thought I'd do my celebrations with my friends. I always tend to do that. I mean, I'm sure most of you do. Like, I'll do one thing with my family. Like, I always go back to Wales and celebrate. And then I'll do something with my boyfriend if I've got a boyfriend at the time. And then I'll do something with the girls. But usually I have a big group of us and I'll invite all my friends, and I like to do like a prees in the flat. Or we'll all go out to dinner, all do a big night out, and that's usually my vibe. But last year, the group just didn't really mesh very well. And it's the same people, but ironically, like the one that didn't really mesh with all of my friends, I'm actually not friends with anymore. But last year, because of that, I was like, I'm never doing a group celebration again, and I'm just going to stick to doing stuff separately, because you know how it is, like you meet different friends and different groups of people, and just because you all get on doesn't mean that like they necessarily would be friends if it wasn't for me, you know, and doesn't mean like, basically not everyone's going to be everyone's cup of tea, are they? So I thought, right, this year I'm just going to do my two close friends, keep it quite low key. We're going to go out day drinking for a lunch and see what happens. So I've been super excited. And then I wake up Saturday morning, get a voice note off my friend, thinking it's going to be like, can't wait, sun's out, you know, get ready. No, she was sick. So she couldn't come. And it was just me and my other friend. Like the 1 year that I didn't do a big celebration is the only year ever that somebody has bailed or not been able to come to my birthday. Anyway, it's not a big deal. Like I didn't really care. Until I got to the restaurant, went to Chiltern Firehouse. You know, I used to work there. I haven't been back there ever. So I've been like so many times for work. I've never actually been there since I quit on the spot. You know, I said that story where that guy was inappropriate and I quit on the spot. Never been back there. Actually, as I was walking down the street, it was giving me like low-key anxiety. I was telling my friend this. I was like, oh my God, I used to have such anxiety working here. And she was like, have you ever enjoyed your job? I said no, but this one was particularly bad. I don't know why, it just used to give me anxiety. I know it's funny. You know, like with smells, for me, a smell always reminds me of a certain time in my life, whether that's good or bad. Like a certain smells and songs do it, don't they? So if you've got a certain perfume, or if somebody uses like a certain clothes softener or whatever, it'll remind you of that person. And for me, it's like perfumes as well. So when my sister got married, I'm going on way on a tangent here, but when my sister got married, I bought a new perfume in the airport because I was like, I want to buy something that whenever I smell it will remind me of my sister's wedding. So I bought G&G Light Blue, and I never wear it, and I haven't even got it anymore, but it's like every time I smell it, it'll take me back. Anyway, I went to the bathrooms in Chiltern Firehouse, and the smell hit me, and I was like, oh my God, it took me back to 2015, being in like the A-line turquoise disgusting dresses that they used to make us wear. I hated them. You never had your own, so you had to go down into like the basement when you started your shift and put another one on, and they used to get dry cleaned, but like it just doesn't feel nice when you're essentially putting someone else's dress on. Oh my God, it just transported me back. But it was a very different experience going there, not working. It was lovely. But my point is, I was sat there by myself because my other friend was late. And you know that episode of Sex and the City when Carrie goes for a birthday dinner? It's like in season 2 or something. And she doesn't know, but she's in the wrong restaurant and everyone else is late. There's people stuck in traffic or or is it somebody else is in a different restaurant? I can't remember. But basically there's a group of them and all of them mess up. And she sat at the birthday dinner alone waiting for everyone. That's what I felt like. It was only 20 minutes, but it felt like an eternity, I'm not going to lie. I was literally sat there and I was like, wow, you know, as you get older, I just feel like Sex and City is so much more relatable. I used to watch that. I first started watching Sex and City when I was 18, and as amazing as it was, like I loved it. Nothing was relatable at all. Now I watch it as like a 30-something woman. It's getting a little bit too relatable in parts, I'm not gonna lie. It comes with a different type of experience when you watch it when you're older. But yeah, that's what I felt like. I was just sat there, and then the waiter came over to me and he was like, oh, is it you a birthday? So I was thinking, have I put someone on the booking, or like has my friend rang up, because I know she's usually really good, and like they got me a cake and stuff that they brought over. So somebody must have said that it was my birthday. And he's like, is it you a birthday? I said, yeah. And he went, yeah, and he fist pumped me, and I was like, I'm alone in the restaurant waiting for one other person to show up. It's like, is this tragic vibes? And I tried to have a joke with him about it, but I could tell he couldn't understand my accent, and he was like politely laughing. I was like, you can't understand me. So it was fine. I mean, literally no one batted an eyelid. I didn't feel embarrassed or anything, but yeah, it made me laugh. But anyway, intro over. Let's go straight into this week's story. I discovered the real reason why my husband missed the birth of our first child, and now I'm throwing him out. My husband has a best friend, Anna. Oh, I hate it already. I feel like I already know where it's going, and I don't like it. For me, that says it all. My husband has a best friend, Anna. They've been friends for a long time and dated years ago, mutually deciding it's best for them to remain friends. Has someone else I don't really understand? Although, I had such a good episode last year. I'm sure it's called like I'm friends with my ex or something, and that was one of the best stories we've had sent. She was really close friends with her ex, and it was like a beautiful story how she said it all, but both of them were single, and I was always really interested to find out what would happen when they both got into separate relationships, because I do just think it's a struggle for me. I always feel like I could be friends with an ex, but there's just a big part of me that wouldn't want to, because the only ones that I would want to be friends with are probably the ones that I would run the risk of sleeping with. Do you know what I mean? The others, I wouldn't even want to be friends with them. I'm like, you're done. And the only ones that I could be friends with because like I enjoy their company or their friendship, I just feel like it would just be a matter of time before we got drunk and slept with each other again. But I have had an ex that had a girl best friend, and that was quite problematic actually. I don't know if I've spoken about it on you, but he never told me the whole time we were together. He told me after we broke up and we like met up for like one time or ever, classic, that they had kissed when they first, because they worked together, when they first met, they kissed. And he never told me. And then when he told me after we broke up, I was like, I think I just asked him, because you just know, don't know. I was like, everything makes sense now, because they kissed. And then he was like, oh, no, that's a bit weird. Like, let's stay friends. But I feel like she always had something, like, with him. I mean, she's married now and she's got a baby. So, like, there was nothing in it. But I felt like whenever, because me and him were friends first, whenever he had a girl in his life, the best friend was like the girl's best friend, like the most friendly, the most welcoming. Like I remember my ex went travelling, and I say travelling, actually I think it was just like a 2-week holiday. It felt like a long time though. And his friend was like, oh, well, we can meet up and we can go out, and we went for a drink together. And now, having lived through that, I don't know if I would maybe see it as a red flag, but I feel like she wanted to be all friends with you until it got serious. And then whenever like he was serious with a girl and she didn't have a boyfriend, she would like kick off over different stuff, and she just basically hated it. So yeah, I've had like quite not bad experiences, but I'm, always a little bit skeptical of it. Even though I know boys and girls can be friends. I know that, but anyway, she says, I've had no problem with this relationship until now. On the day that I gave birth, Anna's brother got into a car accident. My husband got a call from her in the middle of the night and asked him if he could drop her at the hospital that her brother was taken to, an hour from where we lived, since she was too scared to drive. My husband agreed, told me quickly while I was half asleep, and rushed out. A few hours later, I had contractions and called my husband. He didn't pick up after multiple tries, so I gave up and called my dad, who drove me to our local hospital, a 12-minute drive away. I'm sorry, just the stress of that. It's your first child and you can't get hold of your husband. That is enough to send you into early labour. I'm sure that's enough for the child to just like come out straight away. literally in the car on the way there from the stress. I was so scared of giving birth alone. Oh, since I've already had 3 miscarriages and 1 stillborn. Oh my God. My husband promised me that no matter what, he would be there. Guess what? He wasn't. Fucking wanker, honestly. We called multiple times while I was in labour, and when he finally picked up my dad's call when I was giving birth, he said he'd misplaced his phone in all the chaos. I'm sorry, you done misplace your phone in chaos. I personally think that in times of chaos is probably when you've got access to your phone the most. I don't know, touch wood, I've never been unlucky enough to be in that level of chaos, but I'm not saying it's the time when you're on your phone. Oh no, I suppose actually you would misplace it because you're in it. But it's definitely something you're aware of, because when you're in like an emergency, so many people are trying to contact you. You've got to let people know what's happening. So I don't think you lose your phone. I definitely think you can be away from it. And also, lest we forget, his wife is almost having a baby. You would have known her due date. So for that reason, if you're leaving in the middle of the night, you're taking your phone on you and you're keeping it on you and you're keeping track of it. I don't buy that at all. My dad informed him that no matter how fast he drives now, he's going to miss the birth of his child. Well, my husband took that as he's already screwed up, so it doesn't matter what time he shows up at this point. So when he finally came, our daughter was about 5 hours old, and I had already moved to the maternity ward. That's sad. Also sad for him, because why would he want to miss the birth of his first child? Like, it's a pretty big thing for men and women. So that's strange. When he eventually came, I was furious at him, so I refused to let him see the baby. Because I was so high on emotions and was shaking when I saw him, I didn't want it to affect negatively my time with the baby. Oh my God, that's so bold. You know, Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson, I don't know if you've ever seen that episode, but basically the day before she went in labour, pictures came out of him with another girl in a club, like literally pictures of him cheating on her. And she went into labour and she just allowed him obviously to come and still be there, and she was just asking everyone to be nice and be calm because she's giving birth and it's her first child. And that must have taken like another level of strength, because she was focusing so much on wanting that to be a nice experience that she made everyone else feel calm, and she made him feel welcome even after what he just done, to get through the whole thing positively for the baby and for him and for her. But like, I can't even imagine what she was going through. Okay, she says, I wanted her birth to be a happy time and I was already struggling to feed her. My husband was in a bad state and begged to see her, so I told him to stand by the window and held the baby up so he could see her. Oh my God, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse. I think I'd rather not see the baby than see it through a pane of glass, like some dramatic film. It's giving COVID times. Wow. But, you know, fair enough. I think you've got to remember, like, her emotions will be all over the place, like the hormones and stuff. And she probably wants to strangle him with the umbilical cord. Like, I would be asking the doctor to keep that so we can just wring the man's neck with it, because how do you miss the birth of our first child? I'm sorry. For me, I do think that's unforgivable. Like, you've got to have an amazing excuse to miss that. And I just can't think of any valid one other than, like, your closest family member's death. I think that's the only thing that excuses it. This isn't the same because it's a friend's brother, by the way, so it's not the same. I told him to leave and we could both interact with the baby when I leave the hospital. It was then I informed him I was most likely divorcing him. FYI, you can see the baby and the divorce papers at the same time. He started bawling and apologising and defending himself, saying that Anna's brother was in serious critical condition, and although he's fine now, Anna needed him. Anna's parents were there, mind you, but she just isn't as close to them. That kind of sounds like an Anna problem to me. Not mine, yours, or our unborn child's. Like, I get the taking the lift to the hospital because she doesn't want to drive. That is fine. I get being there. But when your wife, you know, is close to labour, you just do a sharp exit and you drop him off and you say, look, I'm so sorry I can't be here right now, but I'm having a baby. Your brother's going to be fine and you've got family here. I'm having a baby. This is not something that happens all the time. It's my first child. Like, it's one of the biggest things that can happen in your life. Crazy. Anna's brother was not in a life or death situation. He has serious injuries, but most were concentrated on his legs and arm. He regained consciousness soon after the crash. My husband was there as emotional support for Anna. Oh, the dagger. The dagger in the heart. It's like that thing. There's like a infamous question. The infamous to me. I don't know where I've read or heard it, but me and my friend have spoken about it quite a bit. Would you rather your partner have an emotional or physical affair? And apparently most men choose the emotional, that they'd rather their wife or partner have an emotional affair. And women choose physical. Apparently that's the stats, although I have asked guys before and they don't match up with that stat. But generally that's what it is, because the emotional affair can be so much more hurtful. Because I think, like, with me, I would rather somebody have a physical affair, because you can have sex with somebody and it mean literally nothing. You can have zero feelings for them. You can do it and then never see them again. Like, it can be nothing. But to have an emotional affair with somebody means you're invested in some way and you've got some sort of connection with that person and you're committed in some way to that person, because you're going to them for advice, you were their soundboard. It's a commitment to a person and you can only get there by being super intimate with them, super open, trusting. And that's what makes a relationship. Like, the emotional connection you have with a person is what turns them into your partner, not the physical. So to find out somebody has had an emotional affair, I suppose, or got some sort of like emotional support or like a big emotional connection with someone else, somebody they used to date, by the way, I'm sorry, piss right off, that is more hurtful. Because then I feel like I'm having deja vu, because we must have had stories like this before. But it's like, what am I doing here then? Because I meant to be your emotional support and you mine. And obviously you can have friends and stuff, but this is like another level. Like, you're missing the birth of your child to go and support somebody else. He was there helping Anna. He could have come back as soon as he found out her brother was going to be okay, but instead he chose to stay. I told him I didn't care and that his daughter's already come second to him. That's so classic, by the way. I don't care, actually. I was watching Normal People, which I've got to talk to you about. But that's what happened in the episode I watched last night. He invites somebody else to the dance, like in school or whatever. And she's like borderline crying. And he's like, are you upset or something? She's like, I don't actually care. It's like, when you say you don't care, it's probably when you care the absolute most. So funny. It's like when girls say, what's wrong? They're like, fine, nothing, I'm fine. Fine is code for you fucked up. I told him I didn't care and that his daughter's already come second to him. I wasn't having her being sidelined. He eventually agreed and left. Anna called me later, oh hell no, and said I was controlling and she'd never met anyone as cruel as me for not letting a father see his newborn. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's giving white chicks. Nay, bring the straight razors and the Vaseline. These bitches are on some other shit. Because that is allowing me to choose violence. You want to fight me now? You were coming at me fresh after giving birth. My hormones are all over the place. I can't control myself and you should be very afraid of me. And you're coming at me telling me I'm cruel and controlling. Bitch, hold my purse, because I will be there at your doorstep. I love that Anna thinks she's got an opinion in all of this. Like, who do you think you are? Like, the woman's just given birth. Where's your respect? Like, go and deal with your brother that's in hospital rather than texting your friend's missus. It's just out of order, I'm sorry. I told her it was my husband's doing, not mine. Preach. Also, he did see hold our baby, right after I got discharged. I just wanted a couple of peaceful days resting and bonding with my baby away from all the stress and negativity. fair. I think she's essentially just like thrown him out. So he's still seeing the baby, but she can't be around him 24/7, which is fair enough. Like when somebody's pissed me off and when I feel angry, I cannot be around you. Like I just don't want to speak to you. I don't want to see you because I just need the separate time. Like I think that's fine how people deal with that. I think that's one of the hardest things when you live with somebody. If you have an argument or something, you're still in this space and you haven't got your own space and time to just like deal with it. So yeah, I completely get that. I was afraid if my husband was a continuous presence there that I would get stressed. The thing is, I can't help but feel cruel and like I'm depriving my child of both parents. I'm just so mad, and it's not the first time he's put Anna before me. I mean, I bet it's not, because you don't go from a normal friendship to missing the birth of your child to go and help this woman. Like, there's definitely a gradual growth there. You don't just do that on a whim, do you? I could forgive the other times, but this was the final straw. I don't understand why he didn't have his phone on him. Anna also didn't answer our calls. I'm not mad he went to see her. I'm mad he didn't think we were a priority to rush back to. Exactly. If she wasn't pregnant, different story. It'd be a little bit annoying, whatever, but if brother's been in a crash, like, obviously you're going to want to help out where you can. But the timing of it... Also, let's not forget, he left her in the middle of the night when she was heavily pregnant, which I think is so scary anyway. Like, you literally do to have a child, and then you're being left alone in the middle of the night. Like, I think that's really scary, because when you start to have contractions, you're there by yourself. When you've got a partner. So yeah, that's not nice. My husband sees her a few hours each day now. Should I divorce him? Divorce sounds very serious. Like, generally, I've got the idea of wedding vows I would take very, very, very seriously. And I know most people do, but there's no way I would marry someone if I had an ounce of doubt that I didn't think it could last forever, because I just wants to get divorced. So I don't say this lightly, but yeah, I think you should. I think you should get divorced, because I don't know how you get over that, because you've got to look at the child every day. Anna's going to be in your life every day. I think as well what doesn't help is the fact that they're seeing each other still, and that Anna's like being a bitch to you. You know, if she was like a close family friend, the whole thing could have been different. If he was texting the whole time being like, oh my God, this is a nightmare, I'm really trying to leave but I can't. Or, you know, oh my God, ringing her to check she's okay. Instead, just complete ghost mode. And that just shows like a complete lack of care. Guys, if you've got any stories that you'd like to share, if they're funny, lovely, bad, traumatic, any stories, please send them to sadie@lovewhatluck.com, or just leave me a DM at Sadie Maltby or at lovewhatluck. And also, thank you so much. Last week I asked for more Spotify reviews because I really wanted to get to 200, and I got loads. Like, literally straight after that episode came out, you listened and gave me 5-star reviews, so thank you so much. That really made my whole week. I don't know what we're on actually, which is unusual for me. Usually I know exactly what we're on, but you know my goal is 200, and we're on 186, so we're getting there, slowly but surely. If you haven't left me a review on Spotify, then please do it now, and just remember to subscribe and follow. Right, I was watching Normal People, and I know I'm so behind on this, right? It's been on my TikTok for ages, the quotes, it's based on a book. I'm way behind. I haven't seen it all, so don't message me any spoilers. And if you're watching it, I'm up to episode 6, I think. So don't listen if you want spoilers, just skip past it, whatever. But I can't recommend you enough. So it's Paul Mescal, who everyone is crazy about. But I've got to say, I was watching it. He's got a very female mouth, and it looks like he's had lip filler. I'm not completely against men having lip filler, it is what it is. But the whole mouth was not attractive to me at all. And I was watching it wondering what the fascination with him is, because people are going wild for Paul Mescal. I didn't get it. He's a nice character in it. Obviously, he's got a good accent. But the mouth was, it was just too feminine for me. It was just a very feminine mouth. It wasn't for me. But it's so good, guys. If you haven't seen it, you have to go and watch it. I actually haven't got any spoilers to talk about because I'm not even going to tell you most of the story. But they're in school, which usually with teenagers, I can't get on board with teenage love stories. Like, I'm in my 30s. I just can't get on board with it usually. But I think because I like the actors, there's Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar Jones, because I like them. And there's like a little bit of school, but then they go to college, which I just in my head automatically thought of as uni. You can kind of like feel that they're a bit older. But the sex scenes are amazing in it. It's not like rude or anything like that, but you can just, I feel like the chemistry and the way it's shot and stuff is really, really good. Like, they didn't make me cringe, the sex scenes. It was like, oh, you can just tell that they feeling something magical as they're making sweet, sweet love. And it was so good. And they're together, and then they're apart, and then they're crossing back in each other's lives. And it's just like a very realistic love story so far. And yeah, you've got to watch it. I'm at the point now, actually, where... So basically, when they're in college, when they're in school, she's considered like ugly and not cool and, you know, all the rest of it. And she's just like a bit different. So he's borderline embarrassed to let on that he's been sleeping with her. So he keeps a secret. Dick move, and his mother calls him out on it, which I absolutely love. The mother in it is so good. She's in the car with him, and I was like, a mother's really like this with their sons, because if I was a boy mom, I'd like to think I would be the same. They're in the car, right? And basically, because he's so embarrassed, he wants to keep his secret. And there's like the end of school dance, and he asks this girl that he's like slept with once before, was like one of the cool girls, over Marianne. That's Daisy Edgar Jones. And Marianne obviously is super upset and just ghosts him, basically. Like, she's really upset. That's when she says she doesn't care, and she's like, just don't speak to me. And Paul Mescal is called Cornell in it. Cornell and the mother in the car, and the mother's like asking him about it. And she's so annoyed at him for what he's done. She's like, pull over you. I'm absolutely ashamed of you treating that girl that way. And she gets out, and he's like, are you being crazy? Like, stay in the car. And she's like, I'll get the bus home. And she walks out, and I'm like, oh my God, what a woman. And again, the question, are mothers actually like that with their sons when they fuck up? I'd love to know. But yeah, so that happens. And then when they go to college, the tables turn. You know, like when you go to uni, I feel like all the popular people in school, like, it completely switches around, because when you go to uni, there's such a big variety of there. Everyone's academic, and like all the people that probably like got picked on in school really come into their own in uni. Have I ever told you about the old guy that was in my English uni class that that used to come to class with a dog collar on and gloves? Every day he would wear like a black silk shirt and gloves, and at some variation. The dog collar always changed, so you'd always have the black silk gloves on and a black shirt, but the dog collar would change. Sometimes there'll just be a big ring on it, sometimes just studs. But it was given BDSM. And then we found him on Facebook, and his profile picture was him in a gimp mask. But in uni, no one's saying anything. There's no name calling, obviously. No one's picking on him. But imagine I was in school, he would be getting a lot of stick, I'm sure. But yeah, in uni, it like switches. So in uni now, Marianne's cool and she got a boyfriend, and Paul Mescal is the one that feels out of it. Anyway, they still end up getting together, and now he's like distancing himself again. I don't even really understand why. I don't know. He's got like minor problems, and now he's distancing himself again. So I've just seen the clip, and she smashes a glass in the sink. Just going tits up again, but we're only halfway through the season. Anyway, it's so good, and I will report back. So my friend is on Hinge, standard, and sometimes she sends profiles to me, yeah? And one of them this week had in his bio, my greatest strength. The prompt is singular, by the way, but he's decided to go in with, I can't count straight away, 8 or 9 points. So he's gone for multiple. His greatest strength is spider killer, 6 foot. Anyone that says they're 6 foot, you're blatantly 5'10". 6 foot, perfect big spoon, vomit. Blue job specialist, don't know what that means. Best eyes where I work, fine. Healthy and disease-free is one of his greatest strengths that he's listed. And we were like, what the hell? Like, what a random thing to say. And she was like, who's discriminating against someone with diabetes, for example? I said, probably him. And then I was reminded that when I was with my ex, right, his father always used to make backhanded jokes, as in like jokes with a very serious undertone, about my genes. So I used to have really bad anxiety, as you know. And when I was in this relationship, it was like 100% at its worst. It was really bad. So sometimes like even, I remember one time we were at like this big event and it would just come over me. When I used to have this really bad anxiety, I could be sat, like I was literally at this big event with his family. It was amazing, like a really good night. And just all of a sudden it just used to come over me like this big anxiety attack, and I could feel it in my chest, and I'd be like, and nothing would trigger it. Like I didn't know what would trigger it. It would just be my breath. And then obviously when you feel like you can't breathe, you start to panic. So he saw that a couple of times. Obviously my ex was probably like telling him about stuff. And he always used to make like little comments like, oh, bad genes there. She's got the anxiety gene. All right. Like, your girl's got mental health issues. Do you think this is helping me? No. He also always used to say to me, well, what are you going to do then, Sid, for your job now, for your career? I'm like, sir, I'm modelling and I'm having a fun time. Like, just let me live. I don't need this, like, come on, you've got to get your shit together. My own father's not doing that, so why are you doing it to me? He was actually a really nice guy and I did really like him, but the pressure, it's just not what I was a very different time in my life. I just didn't want it from him. Anyway, he also used to say that I had bad genes because I had hay fever. And my ex one time was like, oh yeah, my father always used to say bad to have somebody with a hay fever gene. Firstly, is hay fever a gene? I feel like everyone gets it. And secondly, my ex, I would die if he ever listened to this. Because it's so obvious what I'm talking about. But my ex broke his ankle and it never healed. It never healed the whole time I was with him, and he had to have a fuse. So I'm sorry, where's the bone density? Where's the good bone genes there? Because my bones, never broken a bone in my life. Touch wood, God, please. Do not let me break a bone at 33. Never broken a bone in my life thus far. Your girl hasn't got brittle bones. I'm in good health. The mental health sometimes dips, but physically, minus the hay fever, I'm doing all right. The absolute cheek of it, honestly. Again, if I was a parent, I just don't think I'd be taking that approach with my son or daughter's partners. Like, people are so intense. He always also used to say to me, because my ex was a teacher, the thing is, if you're a teacher, I always say to him, he should go with a teacher. Saying this to me, not a teacher, but his girlfriend. Like, now I look back, I'm like, was he actually just rude? He always used to say to me, I always say to him, so you should be with a teacher, because then you've got the 6 weeks off together, then if you've got all the same breaks together and you can go travelling. Oh, well, I'm sorry that I'm not on the career ladder and I'm not going to be a teacher. My ex doesn't care, so why do you? Although I bet he will end up with a teacher for that reason. Right, I've also got a nice love story this week, where I am honestly still trying to get nice love stories, guys, but they're so much harder to come about, and I have no idea why. I just don't think people like to share they love stories. I don't know why. I don't know if people get embarrassed by it or they don't think it's special, but it's so special, and I love so much, and I love stories. So please, even if it's not yours, but you see one on social media that you think is nice, will you please just send it to me? Because I do love them. Anyway, I have found one. My husband wrote me a letter every day since we got married and gave them to me for our 1-year anniversary. I cried when we read them together. 2 journals filled with memories and poems of our first year of marriage. I want this to be a reminder for everyone. You absolutely deserve the world and more. There are people out there who will cherish every inch of you, and sometimes it will be a huge way to find them, but once you do, you'll realise it was all worth it. I thank the Lord every day for such a blessing. It's given notebook. I wrote to you every day for a year. I think I sounded Irish then, or American. It's given Ryan Gosling saying in the rain that he wrote to, is her name Ali? Well, to Rachel McAdams anyway, saying that he wrote for her every day for a year. Oh, the effort of that. Imagine being gifted that. That is just romance, innit? That is the description of romance right there. I imagine he, like, she obviously hasn't shared what he wrote, but I imagine he would have written, like, just woken up as the first day as husband and wife, and this would be my dream, like, and I looked over at you and woke up and I just felt so much love for you. And then obviously it'll probably be capturing all the stuff that's happened in that year, wouldn't it? Like any new job or any like bad things or whatever, but capturing them all and like how they were feeling and stuff at that time. Oh, I'd be deceased if someone did that to me. I would also be bawling my eyes out. I don't think I've ever had a letter written to me or anything like that. But I had like really nice cards. Matt writes really nice cards. Or Matt used to write really nice cards. And I have had, nice cards before. But I've never had a letter. Okay, and then to close, I asked you guys this week for the worst chat-up lines on dating apps, or like the worst opening lines. First one, I've got a couple. So, what's the worst opening line you've received on a dating app? You look like trouble. Oh, God. That just makes me vomit. Like, the vomit's in my throat when I hear that. I was like, ooh, it makes me heave. The thing is, it's so unoriginal. Like, I guarantee you, at least half of us listening to this have had that message from a guy, obviously. You look like trouble. If it's with the devil emoji. Oh, God. Because also, what do you say to that? It tries to be flirty, but it just gives creep. Oh, I've got nothing to say to it. What would I respond to that? You look like trouble. Yeah, I am. Like, he. Oh, God, no. Not so much a line, but I've had somebody come in straight away with a nickname before. Yeah, I've had that as well. That screams player to me, like an over-familiarity. So for me, if somebody calls me, like I've had Sades before, or even babe straight away, it's like they try to be over-familiar too soon. And it just screams player. And it screams like they are so cocky and confident. And it's the other thing is like if they leave a voice note straight away. It's like they're so confident and they want to make you feel like straight in there. Like it tries to rush the intimacy. And for me, it never works. This one I didn't understand. And I'm wondering if it was a typo, right? But let me know what you think. It says, I haven't got a lemon, so here's a chat to lime. But I think there's a typo in your answer and it should be a chat up lime. So I think it should be, I haven't got a lemon, but here's a chat up lime. And I just think any joke you have to explain means it's a bad joke. It's not funny if you have to explain what the punchline is. And that's just a no from me. You have a lot of facial pics which are nice, but too many girls try to hide what they look like. Can I see a full body pic? No. Oh my God. She said I sent him one and of course he blocked me after. I'm not ashamed of what I look like, and if fat girls aren't for you, then keep it moving. I cannot believe she sent him one. If somebody said see a full body pic, I would just reply my finger. No, why do you need to see my body for? Oh my God, and he blocked her. Oh, thank God he did, because it saves you to deal with somebody like that in person. How awful. I just can't imagine a girl doing that to a guy. I just can't imagine anyone saying, have you got a body pic? Oh, God. I had a guy say the same joke twice when there were gaps in my response times. Have you broken your thumbs? I just feel like if it wasn't funny the first time, it's not going to be funny the second time, is it? Again, a joke should never need to be repeated. But it's giving dad joke, innit? It's really giving dad joke. Hey there, Tinderella. I feel like that's a copy and paste job. Tinderella. No. Okay, and last one. Wanna play Shark Attack? What's that? I'll eat you and you scream. Wink face. Oh God, I'm laughing, but it's not funny, is it? It's sick. It's absolutely sick. They must work on somebody though. There's no way a guy surely is saying the same thing over and over and over again with no success rate. So it's got to be working somewhere down the line for them, sadly. Girls, do it for us all. If you receive a message like that, block them so that they learn their lesson, please. Right, I'm going to wrap it up. Once again, please send your stories to Sadie at Love What Luck, and thank you so much for watching and listening. Please remember to subscribe and follow if you're watching on Spotify, and I'll speak to you next week.